So I'm looking at question number 1, or my example number 1. I'm looking at a big rectangle and 2 bases. The bases in this case are hexagons. I gotta remember how to get the area of a polygon. And remember last week we saw it as a regular polygon, perimeter times hypotenuse divided by 2. Each of my sides is 12. There's 6 sides. So I'm gonna say 12 times 6. That's my perimeter, which happens to be 72, but that's the perimeter. The hypotenuse in this case is 10.4, and I'm gonna divide it by 2. So I'm gonna grab a calculator for that. So 12 times 6 times 10.4 divided by 2. And it gives me that each of my bases is 374.4. Each of my bases, right? Perimeter times hypotenuse divided by 2. Now, the big rectangle in the center, let me change this to red. The distance between the bases, the number has nothing to do with the bases, happens to be 12. That's the short side of the rectangle. Now, the long side is the perimeter of the base. Each side is 12. There's 6 of them. I'm going to call this 72. So I'm just looking at a rectangle, a 72 by 12 rectangle. I'm just going to multiply 72 times 12, and I get 864. The perimeter of the base. Yeah, there's each side is 12, and there's 6 of them, so 12 times 6. So now I have the 3 numbers. Yes. Wait. Let me explain this once again. The 72 is the perimeter of the base. You add all the sides. Each side is 12. There's 6 of them. So you can go 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, or just 12 times 6, which is 72. Now the rectangle in red is 72 by 12, right? So 72 times 12, 864. So far, so good? Right? Now that I have the 3 areas, let me just add them all. So I'm going to go 374.4 twice plus 864. It gives me 1,612.8. That's good. Looking at question number 2 as well. Have a big rectangle and 2 bases, but in this case, my bases are triangles. Remember, how to get the area of a triangle? Look for the 2 numbers across at 90 degrees. In this case, is a 6 and 8. I know that size is 8. Look at the 2 numbers across at 90 degrees. I'm just going to go 6 times 8, but because it's a triangle, I'm going to divide it by 2. 6 times 8 divided by 2 gives me 24. Each of my triangles is 24. Now for the big rectangle in the center, look for the distance in between your triangles. The number that has nothing to do with your triangles. In this case, 9. The long side of the rectangle, add the perimeter of the bases, right? Add the 3 sides of your triangle, which I'm looking at 10, 6, and 8. Add them up. Now, for the rectangle in the center, I'm just going to go 24 times 9. That gives me 216. Add the 3 areas, the big rectangle, and add the 2 triangles. Add them all up, and that gives you 264. You have a big rectangle and 2 bases. Now, the hard things are when the prism is a rectangular prism, when the base is a triangle, it's a polygon, so these, it's easy to tell which one is the base. When we have a rectangular prism, like number 3, it's kind of hard to tell which one is the base. So I'm going to highlight my base. I'm going to highlight the base in red. I see it's a 6x7 rectangle. So remember, all I'm going to do is a big rectangle and two bases. My base is a 6x7 rectangle, so I have to multiply 6 times 7, and that gives me that each of my bases is 42. All right, how to get the area of a rectangle? 6 times 7. Now, for the big rectangle in the center, look for the distance in between the bases, the number that has nothing to do with your bases, which in this case, it's 6, right? The distance in between the bases. Now, the long side of the rectangle, add all the sides of your base, the perimeter of your base. Remember the one I have in red? One side is 6, the other side is 7, the other side is 6, the other side is 7. Add them all, and that gives me my perimeter is 26. So now for the rectangle in the center, I'm going to go 26 times 6, which is 156. Add all the bases. Add all the 3 areas, and you get 240. All I'm doing is a big rectangle and 2 bases. That's all I'm doing. Even for a cylinder, question number 4, I'm going to do a big rectangle. My bases in this case look like circles. The radius is 9. So I'm going to say the area of the circle is 81 pi. I'm going to leave pi as a pi. Right? 9 squared, right? Radius squared. Now, for the short side of my rectangle, the distance in between the circles is 11. Now, for the long side of the rectangle, the distance around the circles, we call this circumference for perimeter. My radius is 9. So the long side is going to be 18 pi because I go radius times 2. My radius is 9, so 18 pi. Now, for the area of the rectangle, I'm just going to go 18 times 11, which in this case is 198 pi. And I'm just going to add everything. 198 plus 81 plus 81. And it's going to give me 360 pi. Or in your case, whenever you guys type it, 360 pi. Just look at this as a big rectangle and 2 bases. That's basically it.